Session 19. Verbs are incalculably useful to you. Every sentence you think, say, read, or write contains an implied or expressed verb, for it is the verb that carries the action, the movement, the force of your ideas. As a young child, you used verbs fairly early. Your first words, of course, were probably nouns, as you identified the things or people around you. Mama, dada, doll, baby, bottle, etc. perhaps were the first standard syllables you uttered, for naming concrete things or real persons is the initial step in the development of language. Soon there came the ability to express intangible ideas, and then you began to use simple verbs: go, stop, stay, want, eat, sleep, etc. As you gained maturity, your verbs expressed ideas of greater and greater complexity. As an adult, you can describe the most involved actions in a few simple syllables, if you have a good store of useful verbs at your command. The richer and more extensive your vocabulary of verbs, the more accurately and expressively you can communicate your understanding of actions, reactions, attitudes, and emotions. Let's be specific. Ideas. 1. Playing it down, ready to go back 30 or more years. Consider some post-World War II American political history. Harry Truman couldn't win the 1948 election. The pollsters said so, the Republicans heartily agreed, even the Democrats, some in high places, believed it. Mr. Truman himself was perhaps the only voter in the country who was not entirely convinced. Came the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. Well, if you were one of those who stayed up most of the night listening to the returns, and then kept your ear to the radio most of the next day, you recall how you reacted to the unique Truman triumph. It was no mean accomplishment, thought many people. Pure accident, said others. If 1 out of 12 voters in a few key states had changed his ballot, Harry could have gone back to selling ties, one Republican apologist pointed out. It wasn't anything Truman did, said another, it was what Dewey didn't do. No credit to Truman, said a third, it was the farmers, or labor, or the Republicans who hadn't bothered to vote, or the ingenious miscounting of ballots. No credit to Truman, insisted a fourth, it was Wallace's candidacy, it was the Democrats, it was Republican overconfidence, it was sunspots, it was the communists, it was the civil service workers who didn't want to lose their cushy jobs, it was really Roosevelt who won the election. Anyway, Harry didn't accomplish a thing, he was just a victim of good fortune. What were the apologists for Dewey's failure doing? They were disparaging Truman's achievement. 2. Playing it safe, willing to look at some more history of the late 1940s? Of course, Dewey did campaign, in his own way, for the presidency. As the Republican aspirant, he had to take a stand on the controversial Taft-Hartley Act. Was he for it? He was for that part of it which was good. Naturally, he was against any of the provisions which were bad. Was he for it? The answer was yes, and also no. Take whichever answer you wanted most to hear. What was Dewey doing? He was equivocating. 3. Enjoying the little things. Have you ever gone through a book that was so good you kept hugging yourself mentally as you read? Have you ever seen a play or motion picture that was so charming that you felt sheer delight as you watched? Or perhaps you have had a portion of pumpkin chiffon pie, light and airy and mildly flavored, and with a flaky, delicious crust, that was the last word in gustatory enjoyment? Now notice the examples I have used. I have not spoken of books that grip you emotionally, of plays and movies that keep you on the edge of your seat in suspense, or of food that satisfies a ravenous hunger. These would offer quite a different, perhaps more lasting and memorable, type of enjoyment. I have detailed, rather, mental or physical stimuli that excite enjoyably but not too sharply, a delightful novel, a charming play, a delicious dessert. How do such things affect you? They titillate you. 4. Playing it way up. You know how the teenagers of an earlier generation adored, idolized, and overwhelmed Frank Sinatra, Elvis Presley, the Beatles? And of course you know how certain people fall all over visiting celebrities, best-selling authors, much-publicized artists, or famous entertainers. They show them ingratiating, almost servile attention, worship and flatter them fulsomely. Point 1. How do we say it in a single word? They adulate such celebrities. 5. Accentuating the negative. What does the doctor say to you if you have low blood sugar? No candy, no pastries, no chocolate marshmallow cookies, no ice cream, your morale dropping lower and lower as each favorite goodie is placed on the forbidden list. What, in one word, is the doctor doing? The doctor is prescribing harmful items in your diet. 6. Accentuating the affirmative. You are warm, friendly, enthusiastic, outgoing, easy to please. You are quick to show appreciation, yet accept, without judgment or criticism, the human weaknesses of others. You are a fascinating talker, an even better listener. You believe in, and practice, honest self-disclosure. You feel comfortable with yourself and therefore with everyone else, and you have a passionate interest in experiencing, in living, in relating to people. Need you have any fears about making friends? Obviously not. Your characteristics and temperament obviate such fears. 7. Playing it wrong. Theodore Rake, in his penetrating book on psychoanalysis Listening with the Third Ear, talks about neurotic people who unconsciously wish to fail. In business interviews, they say exactly the wrong words, they do exactly the wrong things, they seem intent, as, unconsciously, they actually are, on ensuring failure in every possible way, though consciously they are doing their best to court success. What effect does such a neurotic tendency have? It militates against success. 8. Playing it dirty. Harry? He's a closet alcoholic. Maud? She's sleeping around, and her stupid husband doesn't suspect a thing. Bill? He's embezzling from his own company. Paul? He's a child molester. Sally? You don't know that she's a notorious husband beater? What is this character doing? He's maligning everyone. 9. Giving the benefit of any doubt. Do you think it's all right to cheat on your income taxes? At least just a little? It's wrong, of course, but doesn't everybody do it? How do you feel about marital infidelity? Are you inclined to overlook the occasional philandering of the male partner, since, after all, to invent a cliché, men are essentially polygamous by nature? If your answers are in the affirmative, how are you reacting to such legal or ethical transgressions? You condone them. 10. Changing hostility. Unwittingly, you have done something that has aroused anger and resentment in your best friend. You had no desire to hurt him, yet he makes it obvious that he feels pretty bitter about the whole situation. Perhaps you failed to invite him to a gathering he wanted to come to, or you neglected to consult him before making a decision on a matter in which he felt he should have some say. His friendship is valuable to you, and you wish to restore yourself in his good graces. What do? You try to placate him.